Because that would have been the originators of all that kind of culture, eh?
Yeah. So
Pretty much, yeah.
And when we were in Belfast, we did this thing called a black cab tour. So they take you round. So in Northern Ireland, they still got segregated areas. So like the Protestants and the Catholics. So that's where they had the IRA. And basically Northern Ireland they want to remain part of the UK.
UK, yeah.
So when we went to Northern Ireland, we needed pounds, and the rest of Ireland was euros.
Right.
But yeah, so the black cabbies, they take you around all these historical sites. They show you where like just the Protestant areas are, where the Catholic areas are. There's a peace wall that runs through Northern Ireland. This massive wall, just legit goes all the way through. So we were like driving around this wall. It's just got like graffiti and stuff all over it. It's buzzy, man. So like, they even had this wall that was dedicated to people like Nelson Mandela, like just Gandhi, all these people of different colors and cultures, and about how they have had discrimination against them. So yeah, that was pretty buzzy to see too. Like, you know, they basically it wasn't just racism. It was, you know, the religious discrimination as well, and it's still prevalent there as well. So like we're asking the guy, you know, what happens if so they still had like the slums, or, you know, like basically the estate housing, all that stuff, and it would back on to that peace wall. But we said to the cabbie, like, oh, so what happens when the younger generation grow up and they're a little bit more open, or, you know, educated to not worry about that? Like, what happens? And he just said, oh, they still believe it, or like, you know, so a Protestant will still think like a Catholic, whatever. Or if they get out and go to like university, they kind of see that they're not horrible people or anything like that. And I was like, oh, do they have schools where, you know, Protestants and Catholics might go? And he said, yeah, they have like integrated schools. But he said, oh, they're in areas where you've got to have like £1 million. So it's like new suburbs where it's like Protestants and Catholics live next to each other, but, you know, you've got to have the money for it. So it's buzzy, man. Like it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you know, like we think that things are bad here. So, you know, things are bad socially, you know, housing and all of those issues that we've faced through COVID, you know, it's the same everywhere around the world, man. And that place, Galway, we went to, which was like a tourist city, when all the pubs and bars closed, it was like a long street, kind of like Queen Street. Every single shop front just was rammed, just full to the brim with people in sleeping bags. I couldn't believe my eyes, man.
Oh, wow.
It was just so heartbreaking. So it's buzzy, man, to think, you know, us over this side of the world, and, you know, we getting hit with $18 kg tomatoes and all this shit, and bro, it's the same over there, eh? Like it's buzzy, and it just makes you realize how small the world is. Like it blew my mind, man. And that was, I mean, it was the end of the night too, and I was pretty fucked, so it probably didn't help. I was just tripping out, but yeah, it's buzzy to see that.
That whole Protestant versus Catholic thing in Ireland that's been going on for centuries, eh?
Yeah.
And, you know, to hear you say that about the wall and what the cab driver was saying, like, it's sort of like the infrastructure is not there. How it is, it doesn't allow for them to sort out their differences. You know what I mean? It's like when you're born there and you grow up, you're like, all you hear is the bad side of, and that's what you think until you go out to university. You know, and it's like the problem's still there. The hate for each other is still there. Right?
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But, you know, how you said how, you know, we're worried about stuff here in New Zealand and go around the world. Man, the first time I experienced seeing that sort of scene with people sleeping outside and that was in Hawaii. And it was in town. And I remember I had to catch a bus from town back to Waikiki. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. And, man, it was outside of Chinatown. And I swear, the whole street was littered with people sleeping. And when I sat at the bus stop, there's people sleeping around me. It was crazy, man. I was like, what? And the bus picked me up when I was looking out the window and all these people sleeping. just a long street, just people on the side. It was pretty sad. There's a big homeless problem there. And then you wonder, man, we shouldn't complain. We're here. But then it is bad for some families here, especially when you hear stories about those families sleeping in cars and that.
Oh yeah, like not to take away from anyone struggling, but I'm just like, it's crazy when you see it's not just like a small country like us struggling. Like it's happening everywhere. It's like the people who have the power, why aren't they doing anything about it? That was more the point I was trying to make. You've got all these people with all this money, they can solve all these issues, but they don't, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty shit.
Yeah. So that was Galway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.